Hey, how are we doing? So I just wanted to hop on and do a little live today. We've got a few members, so just to introduce myself in the flesh, I'm Maria. It's lovely to meet you. And today I want to talk to you about something called the mental load. I've had a couple of clients today, and ironically, it came up for all of them. And if you're in charge of a household, you may or may not have kids, you may or may not be married, but you are in a household, you somehow have been given the job of project manager without actually applying for the role. Okay, so let me just tell you a little bit more about that. So say the example, it was my birthday a couple of days ago, and we've moved house since my last birthday, but when it's birthday time in our house, okay, regardless of whose birthday it is, I always put we've got the same happy birthday banner, and I'll put it up across the kitchen normally. So that was all well and good anyway. My daughter came in to me that morning. She's 4, and she was like, she had a card for me that my husband had given her in advance because he had gone to work, and that was so sweet. And she, we opened it, and she said, "Happy birthday, Mom." And then she said, "Mom, let's go downstairs. The decorations will be up." And I thought, oh my God, like, fair play to them. They put the decorations up. This is brilliant. Went downstairs, nothing. Okay. And my daughter was like, "Mommy, where are the birthday decorations?" And I had to inform her, like, I put the birthday decorations up, like, I'm the one that does it. I think she just thought it happened miraculously, like, because of it. And she was kind of devastated. I was a little bit too. So anyhow, I still had another present and everything was fantastic. But later on that evening, I was saying it to my husband, how like, oh, she was a little bit upset because the banner wasn't up, and I was like, yeah, I kind of should have been up, and he was like, oh, I totally forgot, damn. And then I was like, I did give you a hint yesterday. I was like, oh, the birthday banner hasn't been up in a while. It'd be good to see it up tomorrow. And he was like, you gave me a hint? Why'd you do that? Why'd you give me a hint? Why didn't you just tell me to put it up? This is what I'm getting at. This is the point of this story, okay, if you're still with me. Why didn't you just tell me to put it up? Firstly, why do I have to tell you? And secondly, well, I don't really want to be telling you to put my own birthday banner up because that's a bit cringy. It kind of loses the effect a bit. But it's if you told me, I would have done it. Can I get a thumbs up if you're with me here? It's like, oh, I'll do it if you'll tell me. This means that you're the project manager. So you're the one that has to give all the instructions. You're the one that has to hold all the information, that has to control all the tasks, that has to schedule them all in, that has to plan them, that has to delegate them, that has to make sure they happen, that has to actually follow up on them if they don't happen. Okay? And that is just your project manager household job. It doesn't even come close to all the other jobs that you have, including your day job and being a parent and all that. So yeah, just comment below in the comments if you're like, hell yeah, I'm the project manager in my house and I never ever actually applied for this job. It just got defaulted to me. All right. And it's a lot of the time as busy professional women, we have very capable, wonderful people in our household. But they do expect to be told what to do, and then they'll do it. They're like, oh, no problem. Like, just tell me what I need to do. I'll help out. Do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do that? But it's not the same, because then you're still taking the responsibility of having to tell them, which is a huge job in itself. It's a friggin' title. It's project manager. You could get paid a lot of money for that job. So first thing I want you to do is acknowledge if that's actually happened in your household, okay? Because one of the first points of change, and if you stick with me and you hang out with me a lot, you'll get to learn a lot of these things. But one of the first point of changing anything for it to get better is acknowledgement, okay? So this is what I'll always say to you. If we can acknowledge that something's there, or it's not the way we want it to be, or it's a problem, it's an issue, then we can make change. But until we know that it's a problem, then we ain't going to make any changes. Okay? So just, first of all, if this is you and you're like, yeah, man, I have to tell everybody to do everything in my house. I have to schedule, I have to plan. They'll do it, like, sometimes or all the time, but I have to tell them. Okay? So just acknowledge that that's happening. And what you need to do is remember that everybody's in this together. So what I suggest you do is consider having a conversation with the other adults that you're in your house around it. And it all depends on the personality that they are, and it depends on your personality as well, because a lot of the time as professional, capable, driven women, we do kind of want to do it all. So there's a little bit of let go having to happen there, and kind of trusting that that other person can take the weight of it, and not feeling guilt then when we hand over that responsibility, because that's a huge thing. When we hand over responsibility to someone else, we sometimes feel really guilty because we should be doing it, like, oh, I should drop my kid to football training, or I should cook the dinner for my husband because he's been at work all day, that kind of stuff. Like, and it's like we hold the guilt, but like they're actually okay with it. So it's just about kind of acknowledging that you are the project manager in the house. Have a conversation with the other adults in your house about the way that you're feeling. And sometimes what you can do is look at permanently delegating something towards them. So you don't have to tell them all the time, but you're like, hey, it's your responsibility to empty the dishwasher. I'm not going to remind you and ask you and plead you and huff and puff and drop hints around it all the time. You need to do it. And just kind of actually delegating out those responsibilities, but in a permanent way, as opposed to some load that you have to do every single day. But what I will say to you is the best thing that you can do to get out of being the project manager in your house, so doing a role that you didn't sign up for, is to talk to the other adults in the house. Because a lot of the time they think that if you ask me to do something, I will do it, no problem. But they don't realize that you weren't sure. Why are you the delegator? So just bringing that light to them can be a real eye-opener to them. It's like, well, why do I have to tell you? Why is it my job to delegate the task? And that alone, that conversation alone, can be a real eye-opener. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get you. So like, initiative, is what's kind of needed here. And explain to them how this job is actually zapping you of energy. It's making you tired, it's making you cranky, it's making you cross. It's probably increasing the fight and flight hormone, which I teach a lot about in my Energy Booster program. The more we produce those hormones, the more likely we are to get sick, to get run down, to get exhausted, and to burn out. So there's a long game here when it comes to stepping back from this role. If you continue to stay in this role, the chances are it's going to have an effect on you. So it's not just about, you being lazy or anything like that. It's actually very important for your health and well-being to be able to step back and let other people take on these tasks, and not just you delegating them all the time, but them actually taking that initiative. So yeah, just to sum her up, one, is it you? If this is you and you're like, hell yeah, Maria, I'm the project manager in my house, just comment below. Just give me a thumbs up. If it is, the first step is to acknowledge that it's happening. The second step is to have a conversation with the other adults in your house that it's happening. And that alone can bring a lot of clarity to the situation, because they actually don't realize it. They just think, well, why didn't you just ask me to do it? And you're like, well, it's not, why do I have to ask you? So just having that conversation can be really helpful, assuming that you live with some open-minded, good-hearted adults. Okay, so yeah, if that's helpful, pop it in the comments below. Lovely to see you all. Over and out. Have a great weekend, you guys. Bye.